All right, ladies and mother-frickin' gentlemen, we got a new controversial view here. We're going to talk about guns. Good old American firearms. This is the Justin Gibbons Show. I am your host, Justin Gibbons. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Brandon Scott.
Yo, 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 what's down, baby? So we're going to get into this whole gun control thing. I'm pro-gun. I'm pro-gun choice, all that have you.
Hallelujah. Me too.
I'm all for it, man. Let that rain go, man. Somebody might get serenaded by that.
Oh, man, I don't want to fall asleep in the video.
But yeah, I'm definitely all the way with guns, man. 100%. I'm with it, man, because guns is the most reliable source of protection. One of the most reliable sources of protection. If somebody's trying to do any harm to me, of my own, or a woman, let's put that, a woman, somebody trying to do harm to a woman. Me personally, I might be of a bigger stature, so if a man try to fight me, their guard might be a little bit more up than trying to fight me, because I am of a bigger stature. But let's say a woman who's of a smaller frame, and they're also women. We know how society thinks about women. They think they might be weak. And the man is approaching that woman. If that woman, it doesn't have any source of protection, a knife, okay, cool. Pepper spray, okay, cool. Taser, okay, cool. But if that woman has a gun, that man is going to show that woman so much more caution and respect of trying to attack her than if she didn't.
Let me dive into that. A knife, that means you got to get up close to somebody to even inflict pain on them.
A knife, a taser.
Pepper spray, we know for a fact, does not always work. You've seen the cop videos where guys have taken pepper spray and still continued to fight. And
pepper spray, you can also get affected from the pepper spray yourself by spraying it. Think about if the wind is actually blowing, pepper spray may spray and you may get caught with it too.
Effectively hurt your own self. Third thing is tasers, we know, don't always work. That's the reason why cops carry guns. If they can get the job done with just tasers and pepper spray, then that's what they carry. Just tasers and pepper spray. They carry a gun for a reason. They carry a gun because other people have guns, all right? Now, look, I know that that sounds like, oh, but if we got rid of all the guns, then we wouldn't have to worry about them. But you cannot get rid of all the guns. And the reason why is because criminals don't follow rules. Only people that follow rules are the people who you are affecting with the gun laws.
And still, if you get rid of all of the guns, that still puts us in a situation of his name. If it doesn't even have to be a woman. If you have a smaller framed individual who probably doesn't have any fighting skill sets, and a larger framed individual came to approach that person to cause any harm or steal anything from them, commit any crime towards that person, how can that person fully defend themselves?
Right.
With a knife, like I said again, a knife, they have to be in close to stab. And still, and when the adrenaline is rushing, what is a stab wound? Unless it's in an accurate spot, what is a stab wound? And then what is a tase? You tase me, oh, you zap me for a little second, I shake back, and I'm still progressing to you.
Very true.
I can, if I have a weapon, I can defend myself from a distance. I don't even got to get close to you. Just
because you get rid of guns don't mean you're going to get rid of crime. And if crimes can be committed with guns, they will be committed with bombs. I mean, in the 1970s, when they had the mafia wars and those motorcycle gang wars and stuff like that, their weapon of choice was the homemade bomb. You know, there are other ways other than guns. But guns are mostly used by law-abiding citizens as a deterrent. Now, if you don't own a gun, any old criminal can come to your house with what even looks like a gun. It don't even have to be a real gun, and pretty much have their way with your family. I'm going to let your own mind wander there. They can have their way with your family because you don't own a gun.
Agreed. And just to bring it to another step, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, criminals who have past offenses of having guns, I understand that. So think about this. If you had a past offense of driving while intoxicated, can you not drive anymore? Or are you just on suspension just for a year?
Exactly.
That's what it is. And if people have went to jail for having crimes with these weapons, and they go to jail and they are now a criminal or a felon,
And felons can't own guns, by the way.
And felons can't own guns, but I also think that is a bullcrap statement too, because what jails are supposed to do, they're supposed to rehabilitate the inmates so they come out a better person for society. That's why they let them out. because they feel like they have changed, or they serve their time that they have changed.
Right.
So if that's the case, then what's the problem with having that person who possibly committed a felony when they was at a young age, or even if it was at not even a young age, they committed one, but they got out of jail and like, okay, I did something wrong and that's not going to happen again. And that felon has a household with a family. And that family, and he can't protect his family because he can't have a gun in the household.
Non-violent felons, we're not going to jump on this thing, but non-violent felons shouldn't be banned from having guns.
But I think even violent felons, because we
can't say all. We can't say all. It's going to be too broad.
Okay, touche. Well, we can say some, because like, once again, it goes back to my point that a jail is supposed to rehabilitate people, and if they was violent before, they should come out non-violent anymore if they was actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. And even if there was a non-violent person, I mean, even if there was a violent person, a violent criminal, if they still have a family, they want to protect their family by any means necessary, and they can't hold a gun, just because you're a felon. So you mean to tell me a robber came into my house, or some old situation entered my home, and because I can't own a gun, everybody in my house, including myself, is now murdered?
That is a good point, but that's a topic for another time. That's a topic for another time. So look, what I want to say here is, what I really want to get into is the Second Amendment. For some frickin' reason, everyone who is against guns, for some reason, believes that the Second Amendment was to protect our right to hunt. The Second Amendment has absolutely zero to do with hunting or sporting or target practice. It is about fighting your own government, because that is exactly what we were doing when we wrote the amendments, when we wrote the Constitution. We were fighting our own government. Britain and the British and England, they were all trying to tell us what to do, and we didn't want to follow those rules. We didn't like the way things was going. We was being taxed without representation and several other things, and we said to hell with this. And we knew that if we couldn't keep guns, we could never fight off that tyranny and start our own new dreamland, the new world, America.
Think about this, man. We see videos of YouTube videos and posters of these other countries where you have militia, military people just rolling through the city, controlling everything, controlling every single thing that you do. Because you don't have any weapons to even fight back, and you can't do nothing but just obey what they got to do. So we in America, we are a free country. So let's just say hypothetically, because this always tends to happen, has already happened with America already, of the people retaliating against the government. It's already happened, and let's say that situation happens again, and this whole gun control thing happens, and we have no weapons. How can we really have a voice in a matter?
Exactly.
How can we really fight back? How can we really still have our rights?
If things ever go sour to where we really get a dictator and they try to take our rights away, say you don't have the freedom of speech no more, you can't study this certain religion, you can't do this, you can't do that, we're going to start back up slavery, we're going to put people back in chains. Our guns give us the right to say the hell with that. Now, I know a lot of people out here say, but why do you need an AR-15? Why do you need an AK-47? Because that's what the military uses, and you have to have equal weapons to fight. You can't go out there with a one-shell gun or a muzzle loader and try to fight an advanced military. It just does not work. You have to have the same and equal to the military, and that's even in the Second Amendment too, to have guns that are the same. And the military has actually better guns than we have already. There's already rights the average citizen cannot own a fully automatic. So when people say that, I think there should be a ban on fully automatic guns, there already is one. You've not been allowed to own a fully automatic gun since like the 1940s, and that's a gun where you pull the trigger one time and it goes brrrr. The movie guns, that no one owns those unless you have to have a special license and go through super background checks and pay lots of money to get those. Look, most guns that look scary, it's still one pull, one bullet. All right, semi-automatic. Okay, automatic just referring to the bolt sliding back and putting another shell in every time you shoot. Fully automatic is one trigger and a bunch of bullets fly out. Semi-automatic is one pull, one shot, like that. That's 90% of the guns. That's almost everyone, it's just 90% of the guns out there.
My thing is that, like I made a statement in another video that we had already done. This whole gun control thing is just being so promoted and pushed because of a couple events that has happened in recent events. And it's literally a couple events that has happened. Like that has just went mainstream. Like people have already been killing each other in the streets with guns before. But the thing that really brought gun control on is when you had these quote unquote school shootings, these terrorist attacks, these movie theater shootings, the church shootings. When these things came up, oh, now it's important for us to start talking about gun control. But before these events were really happening, it really wasn't big news. It was like, okay, that's just the way the world's working right now. So what? But then now that it started touching more sensitive places and sensitive areas, now people want to talk about gun control. We can't put we can't put everybody in the same box as those people who use these weapons in the wrong manner. Because if that's the case, man, we could start Xing out so many things on the list.
Cars would be number one. Cars kill more people than guns, period, and have been doing it for a long time. So what do we?
Medicine kills more people than guns. If that's the case, then we would have been start talking about, okay, let's have medicine control.
Very true.
Let's have car control. Let's have air pollution control. Let's have this control. Let's have that control. It would have been so many things.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to eat hot dogs right now if that was the case, right? I mean,
truth be told, food control. It would have been so many things. But we want to fuss about guns.
The thing of it is, the government knows what it's doing, and you can't fight back with food or pills or none of that stuff. The only thing you can fight the government with is guns, and they don't want you to have those guns. Look, any dictator, when they take over a land, take for instance the greatest dictator of all, Adolf Hitler, the first thing he did was he de-armed the population of any place he went into. Turn in all your guns. Once they turn in their guns, they can't fight back. What does that get you? That gets 6 million of you and your people burned up in ovens. I mean, I'm not to talk about the Holocaust. You know, God goes. Prayers go out to them people who suffered for all that and all that. But those who do not know the past are doomed to repeat it. Okay, if you don't know history, you're doomed to have that happen to you. And what happens when you depopulate the populace is you have no defense.
Agreed, man. The thing about this gun control thing, like gentrification, and you might be wondering where I'm going with it.
Go ahead.
So it's a lot of places that be like, okay, turn your guns in and we're gonna pay you just to turn your guns in.
Buyback. It's called buyback.
Buyback. You think you're doing a good deed by getting the guns off the street. Same thing with a lot of neighborhoods that are populated by a certain minority group. Oh, look, if you sell me your house, I'm gonna give you some money. But then if everybody else does that, I'm gonna change this whole area into a whole different place to where you can't even come back if you wanted to.
Exactly.
And it's saying send them the guns. Okay, I'm gonna give me your guns. I'm not even gonna force you to give them to me. I'm gonna put out in the media that it's bad to have them. We shouldn't want them. That you should want to get the guns off the street because this and that. Go ahead and give me your gun. Sell it to them, give you some money. You ain't gonna have to worry about a gun. But the more guns off the streets, the less crimes is gonna happen. And who knows, it could be all geared to a plan like, okay, once we get all the guns off the street, now we can start moving towards that dictatorship.
Exactly. That's the inevitable, because where there's weakness, it's human nature to sniff out weakness and to take advantage of it. We've all done it, especially if you've been in high school. I don't care, man, women, we've all done it. All right, we've seen there's weakness and we took an advantage of it. Now, some of us look back and say, man, we shouldn't have done that, but we did it any freaking way. You can always look back and say, oh, I shouldn't have done that, but it was already done. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you like this: cops don't stop killings, they don't stop murders, they don't stop crimes. They show up after the crime's already been committed. If I call the cops right now and say, hey, look, a guy's breaking into my house right now, if that guy's already done 5-10 minutes worth of damage before those cops even show up, and it don't take 5 minutes to kill somebody with a knife or a bomb or a gun or any type of weapon. I can kill somebody in 5 minutes with this pencil right here if I needed to. It's just the way it.
And people, no, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But people talk about these felons and criminals, ex-cons, whatever, buying guns. You have people who have no record of ever doing anything, and they still going out and buying guns and still doing as much damage as you would think a violent ex-con would be doing.
Not getting into ex-cons, Brandon. Keep going into ex-cons. That's another video.
I'm sorry. My bad. I'm sorry. But they want to put a limitation on who can buy guns. for these certain reasons, but you can't judge somebody's character. Somebody may have never committed a crime a day in their life, and they may have been put in a certain situation where they feel like they need to protect themselves.
Very true.
And they go buy a gun, and with that gun,
the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. That's what the Second Amendment says. So regardless, it doesn't include whether you're a felon or not. You should be able to own a gun, period. I'm agree with you on that, Brandon. But that pro-gun video, we'll get onto the felons and other videos, which I do agree with you in some ways.
Into pro-guns, though.
Look.
I feel like everybody should, man, you should have any means necessary to protect you and your family, you and yours. Even if it's just yourself, you should have a means of wanting to protect you and yourself. And truth be told, these hands can only do so much. A knife can only do so much. There's limitations to it. When you have a gun, that promotes a whole different fear. Because when you stab somebody, it's not like, oh, he died, I stabbed him. Well, if somebody uses a knife, like, okay, if I get stabbed, they don't think immediate death.
And should we ban all knives after that? I mean, let's say you did kill somebody.
It's gonna literally, like, one thing I can say, Jay, that I always debate him on this the most, but I definitely agree with him. If it starts one place, who knows where it's gonna go?
Exactly.
If I take away guns, okay, guns is a threat to us. Because let's take away guns. Okay, not only guns. Okay, now let's take away the pepper spray. Let's take away the taser. Let's take away the knives. Then you don't know how far that can trickle down to because it's a threat. Okay, I know everybody probably maybe have seen the Book of Elijah. Let's take away books now. Let's take away this. Let's take away water. Let's take away food. Let's take away anything that can pose as a threat.
That is true, and that's been employed many times. They've had book burnings and certain things that are illegally watched. They still ban movies to this day. I mean, look, we do not know how far the rabbit hole can go. And when it gets to the point to where they're banning books and movies and stuff like that and stuff, you will not have nothing to fight back with. You need these guns. Guns are vital to freedom. Guns are just nothing but freedom. That's exactly what they are. Now they can be used for tyranny too, but it's a double-edged sword. I know most people in America buy guns for freedom and for safety. All right, I don't want the police to worry about my safety. I can protect myself. Don't take away my rights for safety. I'm cool. I'll just keep my rights and I'll save my freaking self. I'm a self-made man, and just like a lot of people out here, I'll defend my own self. You don't have to come out here and help me and take my rights away to keep me safe. No thanks. You know,
man. Like, and a lot of people are talking about this gun control stuff, and pretty much everybody's speaking on, okay, take away the Second Amendment. That's pretty. When you saying gun control, let's have gun control. Okay, take away one of the amendments. Okay, I know some of my pro-black people, they may be like, okay, the amendments wasn't made for us. Okay, cool, but we still now today we fit into that realm. Okay, probably didn't before, but we can still use that now to assess or to help us out now in today's society. So take away the Second Amendment because it's not good for us, because this is that, and that is happening. Well, maybe may move to the next amendment. Okay, this amendment is also harming society. Women voting may be harming society. So let's take away that. Then the next thing, freedom of speech, that's harming society. Let's take that away. Then it's gonna eventually trickle down to this.
Right, and then when we ain't got no rights, we're like, we're not gonna stand for this shit no more. And they pull out a huge machine gun. They're like, you're not gonna stand for it. We could just, hose you all with this gun and kill all of you right now. What you gonna do about it? Or you gonna fight us with spears?
Or they may even do this. Okay, we take all the way away all of your rights, and now we're out there marching and protesting and trying to fight back with spears and whatever. Well, we're not gonna stand for this. But it's gonna be like, well, y'all are, because here's from 2018. Y'all didn't want gun control anymore. Y'all wanted gun control, so we took it away. Then this year y'all didn't want this anymore. Y'all thought this was harmful to society, and y'all voted it out. Power in the vote, y'all did it.
Right.
So how can you not stand for it?
Don't blame us for brainwashing you about it. You voted it. It's just that pen's marked in your hand. You signed it in blood, didn't you? You know.
And this is not a conspiracy theory, so you can put it as it is. It makes sense. It's simple logic. It literally makes sense.
Look, gun-free zones do not work. It's obvious. You know why those people go up and shoot up schools? It's because there's no one there to protect them. Why you don't see nobody go to Fort Knox or a military station and say, "Oh, I'm gonna be a suicide killer." Why don't they go there if they want to prove their points? The reason why they don't go there is because that place stocked full of guns and guards and people that can shoot back. They go to these places that are gun-free zones where there's no one armed, there's no one with guns. You might have one security guard. Like we know in the Parkland shooting, he ran. The one security guard that was there ran away from the fucking shooting.
Oh,
yeah. He hid behind that building.
We're not supposed to talk about.
No, I'm not. That's not conspiracy.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. Don't go into that one. Yeah.
But think about this, man. Literally, seriously, think about this. If you come into an altercation with another individual, if this individual just has fists, your anxiety levels aren't that high. If they have a knife, okay, they rise more. Pepper spray, they're probably a little bit above the hands. A taser, it might be the same thing with the knife. But if somebody has a gun,
you like, I ain't messing with that.
Soon as somebody pulls out a gun, you're taking off running. You're not even sitting there waiting. You're going to be frozen in your tracks, or you're going to take off running. Somebody pulls out a knife, you're going to still sit there like, man, what you got a knife out for? Pepper spray, same thing, taser, same thing, you're going to still stay there. But a gun will make people run away from it.
There's an old saying my dad used to say, God made man and Samuel Colt made them equal. You know, so it don't matter if you're a little frail woman or an 80-year-old woman up against the, you know, that the mountain from King of Throne of what's the throne? Game of Thrones. It don't matter if you're up against a giant. That gun allows you to be equal with everyone you walk with. You know, everyone you encounter.
And that's how I look at the situation. I'm looking at it because I know I'm probably bigger than the average person, bigger than the average man. Let me say that.
If he wanted to, he could probably take advantage of you.
Probably good. But what I'm getting towards the people who might not be up to my frame, might not be able to handle the average man size or the average woman size, or maybe not the bigger woman size. If you're on the short end of that stick, and you come in a situation and you don't have proper protection because gun control, and you had a gun but you can't have it anymore, now how can you really protect yourself?
Let me put it like this.
We talked about rape culture. You got, sometimes it happens by a gun being pointed to their head.
Right.
What if that person had a gun to protect themselves back? Now it's an equal match.
Right.
You can be bigger than me, but you got a gun, I got a gun.
Right.
I seen a video of a woman, she was getting robbed. And she was getting robbed by 3 men. She came to her basement with a gun and started shooting. Boom, shooting everywhere. And guess what? 3 men, 1 woman. Even if it's 3 people, one person. She defended herself and nothing was taken and she wasn't home. Granted, some people had to die in that situation, but it wasn't her. She's still here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that so much. If you have babies at home, you want to protect them. If you have a loved one at home, it don't even have to be babies, a loved one at home, you want to protect them. You want to protect your goods, your rights. You want to, like, the things in your house, but also your rights. Your right to be able to say whatever you want to say, whenever you want to say it. That is one of the best rights. That's why Louisiana, America is so great. Is because we have the rights, if we want to believe in God or Jesus or Allah or whoever your God is. If you want to believe in Zeus, you can believe in Zeus and ain't nobody could stop you from doing it. If you want to say that you love Donald Trump, you can say it and ain't nobody could tell you not to, because you have these rights and these freedoms and they need to be protected just as much.
They can tell you not to, you don't gotta.
Right. Well, they can tell you not to. Like Brandon said, they can tell you not to, but they can't stop you from saying. They can't say you can't say that, or else we're gonna lock you up. Nobody can say that. Well, they can say it, but nobody can do that to you. And the thing of it is, just like our loved ones, we want to protect with these guns and our property and our money and all that stuff. We should be protecting our rights with them too. So don't give up your rights, and and then another thing is, why do you need a 30-round magazine? Because military carries a 30-round magazine, and we may have to fight them one day, or another military. We want the best in everything. Why do you need a gas? Why do you need a car that gets 30 miles to the gallon? Because that's the most fuel efficient thing, and that's what I want. You know, or why do you need a vehicle that's like a military Hummer, a Humvee? Because I like it. That's the thing about America. It don't matter. If we have the freedom, and if we like it, we keep it. And if it's strategic and it helps us, it helps us.
So yeah, man. Like, so wrapping this up, man. More of the story, bro.
Guns.
Don't even bigger than that. Don't give away your amendments, your rights that you've been given by being an American citizen. Whether you're an immigrant who came over, if you got your rights and you are official, man, keep your rights. Keep it. That's why you come here. You don't just because if you didn't like it, you wouldn't stay here. If you could leave and it was that bad, you would leave. But don't give away your amendments, your rights, because if you give away one, then that's just open up the door to possibly work their way to
get another.
Give away another one.
Now look, let me just add in one more thing. That woman you were talking about with the 3 men against her. Now, if she would have had a knife, and let's just say, for instance, they wouldn't have had guns. They only had knives. Who do you think would have won that?
The men still would have won because, okay, one may get stabbed, but once you just jugging that one person, and you got to be up close to them. And who knows if that knife is even accurate? Because I'm pretty sure everybody has been in a fight before, have had fought before. Somebody punched at you, you was able to move it out the way or dodge it. You're not dodging bullets.
Right.
You're not, unless you Spider-Man, Superman, or whoever, one of them people, you're not dodging bullets like that. I'm sorry.
Right.
It was not a trained, planned thing. You're not dodging bullets. They move too quickly. We don't move that fast.
Right.
So yeah, man.
That's what it is, man. This is the Justin Gibbons Show, and as you can tell, we are pro-gun. Now, look, I'm gonna tell you here, Democrats, don't be falling for this stuff a lot. They want a lot of Democrats to give up those guns. Don't be falling for it. You need to protect your loved ones. You need to protect your family. You need to protect your rights, and the only way to do it is with a gun.
With any situation, think about the worst case possible. The worst scenario.
Better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
That's a good way to end. Peace.